Greetings, YouTube and fellow traditionalist Catholics. This is Sergeant Becerra II, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing something a little different in my Bible studies video. So for this video, I'm going to be covering a couple of verses from one book in the Old Testament, and then a couple of verses from one book in the New Testament. Before I begin, please mind the noise outside. It's really windy out there. So once I cover these verses, I'm going to get into the discussion why I'm reading these because we've already heard, we're already aware of some disturbing news within the last few months. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So let us start off with the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is to you. If you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart, to give glory to my name, saith the Lord of hosts. I will send poverty upon you, and will curse your blessings. Yea, I will curse them, because you have not laid it to heart. So that is Malachi chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. But I'm going to read this little description right here at the beginning of the chapter. The priests are sharply reproved for neglecting their covenant, the evil of marrying with idolaters, and too easily putting away their wives. Okay. Well, I know there's a lot to cover within this chapter, but those two verses I wanted to cover in Malachi chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. Now, let's move forward to the New Testament, to the book of Romans. We're going to go to chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. Now, these are two verses that are also important, and I'll get to that discussion once I'm done. St. Paul says, "For this cause God delivered them up to shameful afflictions." I'm sorry, let me read that again. I didn't mean to mispronounce that. For the cause, for the for this for this cause God delivered them up to shameful affections, for their women have changed the natural use into that use which is against nature. And in like manner, the men also, leaving the natural use of the women, have burned in their lusts and towards another, men with men, working that which is filthy and receiving in themselves the the recompense which was due to their error. Okay, that was so right there are two different chapters and verses that I had covered. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1 and 2, and Romans chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. Now, for a lot of those who are traditionalist Catholics like me, and of course Sedevacantists, we reject all the teachings of the Second Vatican Council, and we do not believe in the popes of Vatican II. We have regarded them as anti-popes from John the 23rd all the way to Francis. So therefore, I recognize Pope Francis as an anti-pope. So therefore, anti-Pope Francis. Now, the reason why I'm covering these two different chapters from two different testaments is because we're all familiar about a few months ago that anti-Pope Francis in a decree giving permission to priests to bless same-sex marriages, blessing sodomites, sodomitic marriages. And what the book of Malachi is saying, if you bless these kinds of people who are filled with sin, your blessings will be cursed. A friend of mine that I know on Facebook, he lives in Canada. I'm not going to say his name, but he has covered this on his channel. And if you're familiar with the website and channel Vatican Catholic, they have gone over this too. And just like I just read right now in Romans 1, chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, it does talk about how men have started committing sin by laying with other men, having sinful relations with other men, sodomy. I gotta be careful with some words I gotta say here. And anti-Pope Francis has allowed this. I mean, he's already proven to be a heretic, and he's already admitted if he is a heretic, he wouldn't even care. But it's already getting pushed back by some of the bishops and archbishops about this kind of practice. But these same bishops have been supportive of sodomitic marriages. So therefore, they're not really bishops. These are phony bishops of the Second Vatican Council. I do not recognize their priests. I do not recognize their bishops or their cardinals. I do not recognize them because how they were quote unquote ordained in the Second Vatican Council and its sect. The Second Vatican Council is not the real Catholic Church. No, it's a made up religion where all religions and even within this secular realm are all together, which I find to be wrong. We're bringing all religions together and all the other all the phony Christian sects like Protestantism and the Orthodox churches, which are all schismatic. I recognize Vatican II one bit, and it's not the Second Vatican Council. And yet we have a false pope who has contradicted just about everything. Even though Vatican Catholic has said that his quote unquote predecessor Benedict XVI is a lot worse than Francis. Probably so. And I believe it. And so let me get to the point here. Anti-Pope Francis has allowed the clergy to bless same-sex sodomitic marriages, which is totally wrong. And you know what? It's not just the Bible that has covered this kind of issue. 3 saints have talked about the cursing of blessings, which even Vatican Catholic by Brother Peter Diamond has talked about in one of his videos not too long ago. There have already been 3 saints that have covered this topic on the cursing of blessings. And that are Saint Benedict of Nursia, Saint Thomas Aquinas, and Pope Saint Gregory VII. They have talked about this. Now, Saint Benedict of Nursia, if you're familiar with his book, The Rule of Saint Benedict, which talks about what rules to follow when living while living in a monastery or when you're an abbot, just simply living the monastic lifestyle. And what he covered, which was never bless anybody that has been excommunicated, because it'll be considered as a curse. St. Thomas Aquinas covered this in his Summa Theologica. I know St. Thomas Aquinas has 5 volumes of that of the Summa Theologica, and honestly, I don't remember which book within those 5 volumes he mentioned it, but he did talk about it. He he realized that any blessing you give to someone that is like outside the church, not fully embracing God, it's just outside, and they have embraced sin, that their blessings will be cursed. And then there's Saint Gregory the VII, who lived a couple of centuries before Thomas Aquinas, and he's covered this in his teachings too. That if you bless anyone that is uh, fully embraced heresy or any kind of sin, then their blessings will be cursed as well. So I apologize. I do my best to get these words out of my mouth. I have somewhat of a speech impediment problem I've had for a long time. I apologize. So both Malachi and Romans have talked about any blessing you give will be declared as a curse, which the book of Malachi has talked about, and of course Saint Paul talks about men who lay with men, that men who may men who lay with men, it is completely declared as an abominable sin and a damnation upon their souls. Even Leviticus 18 verse 22 has talked about the same thing. But Saint Paul in Romans fully declares that, confirmed, yeah, has confirmed that it is wrong for men to lay with other men. And one thing I've learned from researching from Vatican Catholic, from their videos, even though later online searched everything else, you got a lot of these quote unquote Catholics of the Novus Ordo Mass who don't know what the hell they're even talking about. And yet one of them said that the document that anti-Pope Francis has approved of, he called it quote unquote beautiful. So a document that permits this is somewhat beautiful? No. Even some have realized that this decision that Francis had declared is just flat out wrong. And some of these church, some of these theologians and other researchers within the church have said, no, this is not something to embrace. This is just wrong. There's no this is just wrong on all levels, and there's nothing to codify or even sugarcoat anything. Uh, Pope Saint Gregory the VII, who I just mentioned him, he was like so far one of the best popes within the late 11th century, one of the best reformers within the church, and he really draw the line when it came to this kind of matter, which later Saint Thomas Aquinas would later talk about this in his works. And like I said, a lot of these quote unquote bishops of Vatican II, they don't like the idea, but yet they're okay and support sodomitic marriages, which I think is just totally wrong. And as a Catholic, I don't think there should be any kind of marriage, such as same-sex marriage, ever within the world. And I live in America, and it's just, all I can say is it's out of control. I'm not the only, well, America's not the only country that's had to put up with this. I already know that other countries have. I know the UK has. I know Canada has. I know that where else? Australia. I've no doubt other countries around the world are allowing this. But wait, but like I said, the Church of Vatican II is not the true church. It's a false sect. It's a made-up religion. What it really is an end times counter church. I mean, with everything what has been written in here, especially in the book of Apocalypse, a lot of it's already been fulfilled. It's already been proven. I mean, we're coming towards the end of life as we know it. Because look at our planet. We have strayed away from God, and God Himself. I know He's angry, but in tears at the same time, and I can tell in my own gut that He is. That we have fallen away from grace. We have fallen away from God, and it's just sickening, and it's also sad that where have we gone in this life? I mean, in this life in the world. I mean, these aren't morals; these are immorals, immorality, and we're just shifting away from everything. The reason why Christianity exists to help us live a better life. The real guidance, real spirituality, and morals to help us live a better life. And I can't believe it's gone to this. And Francis, he is just destroying everything in sight. Everything that has been contradictive what's and what he teaches that go against real church doctrine. And another well-known heretic that he has endorsed and approved a lot of the stuff that goes against church teachings, that would be one of the biggest heretics within the Vatican II sect, quote unquote, Father James Martin, and he's a Jesuit. No Jesuit really would embrace such a thing. Well, the thing about the Jesuits, they have gone like extremely liberal within the last few decades, and everything is just contradiction, going against what the dogmas of the church have been said, including this. This book gives us everything that we need to know how to live a better life. But Francis, with the ridiculous, stupid, straight face with a smile on, believed that same-sex marriage and even being a sodomite is not a sin, which he believes. Those are his words, not me. I mean, you know, between Francis and Martin, they're not real Catholics. They're heretics. Plain and simple. And James Martin embraces this immorality, believing that it's not a sin, and believing that sodomitic relationships are to be okay, including marriages. Francis, well, even though he recognizes that same-sex marriages are wrong, but yet he's allowed it. He's well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for mixing my words up. Even though he recognizes that same-sex marriages are wrong, but he allows these kind of blessings. I don't believe there should be any kind of blessing for anybody that has embraced any sin whatsoever. Because if I were Pope, I would have reversed that document that Francis has allowed to allow these blessings. I'm sorry. I would have said sorry. I'm reversing it. These blessings have to stop. And all you bishops out there, I know you're not real Catholics. You're not really part of the true Catholic Church. You're part of a false sect that is brought us to the brink of extinction. So, you really care about God, then stop supporting and embracing these immoralities. Stop supporting and believing in same-sex marriages and come to the true light. Return back to the true church, the real Catholic Church, the traditional Catholic Church, and the real Mass, the Latin Mass. And I would say the same thing to the entire clergy. Sorry, that's my coffee maker. That's beeping. All those within the Catholic clergy. It's time to get your act together and start embracing what is in here, because really you've strayed away from the true words of God. You've gone to taken a different route by embracing such sins that are really just completely damning. Because we've had saints and popes that have talked about this. Like I said, 3 saints. Saint Benedict, who founded the Benedictine order, Saint Thomas Aquinas, a theologian and a member of the Dominican order, and then Pope Saint Gregory VII. Yeah, what Francis has proposed is just outrageous, and it has to come to a stop. And we need a true pope that could really fix this. And right now, we don't. As long as Vatican II is in full swing, there's no way to put an end to it. Like I said, if I were pope, not only would I reverse that decision that Francis made, but all of Vatican II has to go away completely. We are straying away from the true church. We are straying away from the true teachings and dogmas of the true Catholic Church. It has to stop. There are a lot of things. There's just a lot I would have done if I were the Pope. I'm not a priest myself. I'm not a member of the clergy. But if I had any opportunity, even just one time, once in a lifetime, fix it. Make sure it stays like that until I'm dead. That's it. That's. I'm not asking or begging, but I wish I had that opportunity. That I might cover in another video, maybe in another lifetime. But not right now. I've got a lot to cover in more of my videos. Yeah, so that was the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, Romans chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. So what I just discussed was about these abominable blessings that anti-Pope Francis has allowed. That's why I'm covering these chapters, because I believe that they're really important, even though Vatican Catholic has covered this topic, and my friend in Canada, he's talked about it. So that'll be it for now. I think I've done enough as it is, even though others have. All right. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell beside for future updates and more Bible study videos. Okay, that takes care of that. Sorry once again for the wind outside. I know it's windy and it's blowing really heavily. All right. So that takes care of that for today. Have a wonderful, blessed day. God bless you all, and goodbye.